Lisa, thank you very much for coming down today. It's very exciting to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
So you are the UK General Manager for Tribe UK.
I am.
Which is an influencer marketing platform.
Yeah.
You came to the UK, and one of the first jobs you did over here, you're working with Frank's, which is an Australian men's swimwear brand, isn't it? What brought you from there to where you are today? Like, how did you make that transition into sort of influencer world?
I mean, my background has always been in digital marketing and digital advertising. And I think very naturally we saw an emergence of where consumer eyeballs were and attention was and trust was. And if you're any kind of, digital marketer that knows that you're trying to elicit some sort of response from an audience, make them feel something about your brand and, potentially sway them to consider your product, you've got to go where the trust is and you've got to go where the eyeballs are. So that slowly led me down the path of working with creators. And I'm so glad it did because it's such an exciting space.
For anybody that's not familiar with the company and how the platform works, just explain to us how that actually works.
Tribe is an influencer marketplace. We're a self-serve marketplace that connects brands with everyday people to celebrate them through beautiful content. So it's a content upfront model which hasn't been replicated globally, which gives brands a huge amount of brand safety on one side. They see the content, they can vet the influencer, they see the caption, they avoid any PR crises that could be imaginable. And on the influencer side, it's great because at the end of the day, they're professional content creators. They're creating content all the time. They're crafting content all the time. If they're authentic with their audiences and they are real customers, then they've got no issue with going out, shooting a piece of content, owning the product. Like, these are things that they're happy to do and happy to spend their money on if they're genuine about it. So what we've kind of created is this two-sided marketplace that self-polices for as much integrity in this category as we can pack in there.
There's a really vast breadth of knowledge about influencer marketing to the point where some people know nothing about it. Other people are in sort of advanced level 5, they know how to kind of use it to the nth degree, like I'm sure you do. Give us the overview of what is an influencer? How many people do you have to be an influencer?
Our platform starts at 3,000 followers. So if you have 3,000 followers on either Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, you can freely submit to any brand brief. And we chose 3,000 as a sort of semi-arbitrary number, but also we thought even for one post, you're reaching a significant amount of people. And organic reach actually starts to drop off on Instagram specifically as your audience grows. And your engagement drops as well. Because if I comment on Kim Kardashian's post, she's not responding. And by the time I've actually written it, probably 100,000 more comments have appeared or something, and I just get lost. So naturally, people just don't feel they can be part of those communities. Whereas with my friends and family, it's far more interactive. It's back and forth.
The rise of influencer marketing, just the rise of influencers in general, it's been such a bizarre phenomenon in a way. What do you think has been behind this trend?
We were able to start freely posting media. So the democratization of media was the catalyst for all of this. That I can set up a camera in my bedroom and post things to YouTube and people will watch them has meant that all of a sudden we're not all gathered around a television at night together. We are consuming media in a really fragmented sense. And what was happening is people's voices were being heard and everything turned from being broadcast media that was kind of forced at me to this world of opt-in media where I get to choose who to follow and I get to choose who to unfollow as well and where I spend my time. And if you're holding someone's attention, you have influence.
What do you think about the negative connotations that sometimes is assigned to influencer marketing?
Yeah.
How do you navigate that side of things?
With clarity for both brands and influencers. And for me, the most exciting bit about being a two-sided marketplace is we have that responsibility to educate both sides equally. For me, the entire category will disappear if it lacks authenticity or impacts the trust and the social nature of the channel. The first thing is around that being a real customer, being a real advocate. At the end of the day, there's 1 billion users on Instagram alone. You're gonna find enough real brand advocates that are gonna recommend your product to their followers.
I suppose it's also about influencers being protected so they don't get exploited
Yeah, absolutely.
by brands, right?
We've seen a couple of influencers kind of become poster children for things that didn't think they were doing wrong. What they found was a product that they really loved, but when they were making a specific claim about it, would actually endanger other people. And that's the kind of natural problem you get in influencer marketing, which is you're working with everyday people, you're not working with professionals. So we quality check all of the campaigns that come into the platform to make sure that they adhere with all advertising regulation, even if that regulation hasn't been applied to influencer marketing specifically.
What do you think's next for the world of influencer marketing?
I think we're going to see more and more brands using customer generated content across their entire sort of branding ecosystem in partnership with some of the hero storytelling that they're doing from an above the line perspective. I think personalization from an advertising targeting perspective will get better because people will be able to leverage, all of their different customer sort of styles and voices in their advertising. But I think taking a step beyond all of that, Facebook and Instagram are always going to be the ones that are driving the best performance marketing for a brand. They've got precision targeting, they've got the tools, they've got the scale to drive outcomes for brands, and they're never going to allow that to happen from a third-party perspective. Influencers will play a massive role in driving essentially a multitude of digital shop fronts on Instagram, and that's what it will become.
What would be your one piece of advice for brands if they're looking to get an edge in today's world?
Right now, it is so competitive for any brand online. They're either having to fundamentally change how they're producing product. They're either having to fundamentally change their supply chain model to be more sustainable, more ethical, to align with customer values. They've got issues with trust. And while all of that's happening, they're kind of making these monumental shifts sort of into the digital age. My advice would be you center yourself around the consumer so that you can move faster and trust a little bit more in the instant feedback that you're getting. We do sentiment analysis on every campaign where we can pull through all the comments, not just say people love the campaign or not and love your brand, but specifically what they're liking. And I think the brands that are winning quickly are doing that very well.
Well, Lisa, thank you very much for coming down. I've loved finding out all about influencer marketing. I think Tribe's going to be one to watch. I think the whole influencer world is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, mate. Thanks, bye.